Ow. Alright guys, what's going on? For today's video, you may notice that's not a car, that's not an engine. That's a tankless water heater. I was figuring that, well, first of all, I don't really have enough time this week to make a dedicated video to working on a car. And I don't really have a project that really needs something done right away. So I figured what I have going on here, since you guys are watching my channel anyways, you're DIYers yourself, maybe this will be a benefit for you guys if you have a tankless water heater that you need to flush, because that's what we're going to do today. And whether there's our hands get working on cars, it's nice to have some warm water to help rinse them off, and that's as much as I can twist this to make it seem like it fits my channel. Anyways, tankless water heater, if you don't have one, you have like a normal water heater and that dies at some point in time, I highly recommend getting a tankless. They just keep going, non-stop hot water. It's fantastic. But they, just like every other water heater, they need to be flushed out. This is just a little bit easier and less wasteful than a full-on normal tank water heater. So to do a job like this, and this is a Navian brand hot water heater, it should all be along the same things to kind of flush out a tankless water heater. But to do that, we'll need a few things. First of all, we will need a bucket, we will need a sump pump, and we'll need at least 2 hoses that have just standard hose fittings on either side of it. One, you could get away with probably not needing the hose fitting on both sides, but you're going to need at least 2 of those. It's going to be dependent on your situation and where your hot water heater is located. Bucket, 2 hoses, sump pump, and then we will need the additive, the descaler, decalcifier, whatever you want to call it, powder that you would put in here that's actually going to get rid of all the scaling and all the gunk that's inside your hot water heater. For this stuff, if you want, you can piece all these pieces and buy them yourselves. You may be able to get it cheaper that way. Like you can get like a bucket from Harbor Freight. Doesn't have to be this. It can be any 5-gallon bucket or whatever for like $1, right? And they also sell some pumps and hoses, probably super cheap. This you'll probably just need to order online, or you can just go ahead and buy a kit that will come with the bucket, the pump, and the hoses. And if you're buying the kit the first time, it'll also come with this cleaning powder. And then you would, next year when it comes time to clean out or flush your water heater, you already have the kit. You would just buy this stuff and go through the same process. Entirely up to you what you want to do. I'll have links for like kits down in the description, a link for this sort of stuff if you want to piece it apart yourself. Totally up to you. Tools we'll need. Pretty much the only tool we'll definitely need is a channel lock. And what I will also recommend highly is a clamp of some sort. I'm just going to use this spring clamp, and you'll see why in a little bit. But first and foremost, what we need to do, and it's going to be a little difficult trying to do it one-handed, but let's go back under here. So, hot tankless water heater. First and foremost, what we'll do is we will unplug it. Okay. Here, coming in, is our gas line. We'll go ahead, close that off. Okay. If we look underneath, and this is going to be dependent on what your hot water heater is, but it will be ran similarly, just probably may not be exactly the same, but you have your cold water feed in, and then you have your hot water out. Okay, water goes in, hot water comes out after it's heated. What we're going to do is we're going to turn off we're going to block the water coming in, close that valve, and we're going to block the water going out, close that valve. Okay. Now we have right here the cleaning ports. Cold water side, hot water side, it doesn't really matter, it'll flow in both directions. But they have a 90-degree shutoff valve and then also a cap on it. Cap's going to be on there kind of tight. So this is where channel locks come in. Loosen those up. Loosen those up and get these out of the way. Okay. Do not open the valve yet, or you'll get water running all over yourself and it could potentially be hot. Okay, so now what we'll do with our bucket, move the hoses out of the way. So you take your bucket, make sure your bucket's clean. If it's not brand new, you don't want really any funk getting in there. You take your sump pump, set it inside. Okay. Then you'll take the powder, open it up, dump inside the bucket in here, and then we'll fill the bucket up with water to about this high on the sump pump. We don't want to submerge the sump pump, but we want a level like this because it's going to flow the water continuously through it. So I'm going to add this in here, fill it up with water real quick, and then I'm going to show you what to do the rest of the way once that is done. All right, as you can see, we have the water in there. So now we have to go about hooking up our hoses, and this is not going to be the easiest thing to do one-handed. But it doesn't matter what hoses you have, as long as they, like I said, they have the hose fitting on your side. So here we go. I'm going to put the one side on the cold water side up here, snug it down, take your channel locks, make sure that your hoses here have gaskets on the gasket on the inside. All right, right there. All right, okay. If you don't have that, it's gonna piss all over the place. So here we go. Put this other side on top of the pump, and I got it twisted up here. Get on there. It's cross-threaded like crazy. All right, hang on. Let me use two hands so I don't really jack this up. Okay, got that on there. Now we'll do the same thing for the hot water side, or the outlet side for this. Get that on there, thread it on. Snug it down. All right, now that's in there. Now this end of the hose goes back into the bucket. Unscrew it. Goes back down into the bucket here because it is going to flow itself around. And I wish I did this when the hoses were a little more warm. So right now, oh, were you guys seeing that at all? This is where the clamp comes in handy. Grab that real quick. Okay, as you can see, I took the clamp and I clamped this hose in place. The reason I did that is because the pump is going to pump water up through, and it's going to come back out here, back into the bucket. It's going to recirculate. This is going to have pressure on it. If it's not in the bucket securely, it can pop out, spray all over the place. If your pump runs dry and it keeps pumping, it'll burn itself out, and you'll have a mess. And then you'll be probably, you'll have to rebuy the cleaning powder stuff to finish the job the rest of the way. Okay, so now that this is here and this is here, what we're going to do here is now we're going to open up the valves. God, I don't have enough room in here. Open up the valves. Hear the water flow through. Okay. Okay, now the valves are open. So now we're going to be pushing water up through into the system, and bypass the water come in. So we take our sump pump and we just plug it in. If I can find that, and plug it in there. Okay. Oh, get out of the way. All right. So, as you see, the pump is running. Okay. So that pump is going to circulate the water through there and back and keep it going. Depending on how dirty your system is, depending on your water condition and all that, how hard your water is coming into your house is going to depend on how long you need to let this run. It will probably, if it hasn't been cleaned for a while, it will start out kind of coming out black. And then after that, it will kind of end up in this kind of like bluish tint towards the end. The thing here says, let it run for about 20 minutes or until it's clean. Can't even really focus on that. It's going to come down to your exact conditions as to how long you need to let it run. But you'll do that, and then when that's all run through and we got that clean, we'll come back and we will do the next step. Okay, after your pump has circulated the water for the correct amount of time to get it cleaned out, you unplug the pump. I'm fighting too much here. Paranoid about dropping my phone in the water. All right, here we go. We will disconnect this hose. Now, this is where I said you may need more than two hoses. All depends on your particular situation and where your pump is, your water heater is located. Because now we have to flush the rest of all the extra cleaner out using the water feed from your house. So I can take this same hose and just kind of point it outside from underneath my crawl space, basement, whatever, and then I'll just rearrange it so it kind of points over here. Okay. All right. Keep that locked there. Okay. Now you may need to switch this hose out for a longer hose depending on where this is located to make sure you're not flooding whatever you're doing. Okay, so we have here. Now we're going to close this valve that we opened up to lock it in. All right, and we can go ahead and remove the hose here from the end and the sump pump and then put this cap back up there. Now, while I'm right down here, on this unit, there is a filter here and a filter here. You can, if you want, remove those little filter screens and see if they're dirty and clean them out. You may have to. In my experience on this unit with my water in my situation, I've removed them a couple of times and there hasn't been a single thing on there, so I don't bother with them now. Maybe in a couple more years I'll worry about removing it, but these ones are a pain in the ass to get out of here. I kind of broke one because they're plastic and maybe there's a special tool for it that I don't have. So depending on your unit, base your situation on that. Okay, so once, oh, there's my fingers in the way. Once this valve is closed, go ahead, pull this back off. Just kind of get that out of the way for now. Get a little extra water. I'll put this cap back on. Make sure these caps, when you go to put them back on, have the gasket inside there as well, in case for whatever reason your little ball valve fails. Okay, so the old water in here, which mine is nice and clean because this is just a demo. I already just cleaned this. I wish I filmed it when I did it, but that water, you need to dispose of it per your regulations in your area. Do with that as you will. Okay, so now I have this cleaning valve closed. I have this cleaning valve open. The hot water valve is still closed, and now we're going to open up, depending on how much you want, a little bit, the feed line coming into the hot water heater. So it's going to come in through here. Instead of going out, it's going to come out the flush port. Okay, that water's on. I'm not going to open full way because it comes out like a fire hose here because I have great water pressure. So as you can see, I got it flushing. Flush for a minimum of like 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how bad your system is. And then when that is all done, we'll come back and finish the rest of it. Okay, the water has been flushing out for the correct amount of time, so we'll go and turn this valve back closed. Okay, let the rest of the water kind of drain in there a little bit. Then we will close this outlet valve. Okay, and then we will take and remove this hose. Move that out of the way. There's a little bit of water there, which is fine, to be expected. Just gonna get that out of the way. Put this cap back on. This one is always a hassle because it's stupid retaining thing on here. Okay, there we go. Okay, we tighten this up. All right, there we go. So now those valves are closed. So you can go ahead and open up fully your inlet valve. All right, fill back up water, open up fully your outlet valve. Okay, turn your gas back on. And now we will just plug back in the hot water heater. And it will reboot itself back up and you're good to go for another year. So I think usually, I mean, you can put this in yourself, but most of the time people will have some version of a plumber put this in, and they will usually offer to say, yeah, we can come out and clean it for you, like a cleaning plan or something, or maybe just give us a call once a year. And it's probably like, I'm just guessing here, $250 for them to come out and flush out your hot water heater. And most of it really is, you're just kind of paying them to show up here and sit around and wait for at least 20 minutes. So depending on what kit you got, if you got a kit or if you pieced everything together yourself, that and a pair of channel locks. That's all it will cost you to flush out your own hot water heater, tankless water heater, and save some money. So I got links for everything I kind of used here down in the description if you want to get those. If you want to piece them apart yourself, go on, that's perfectly fine, but this is how you do it. All right, hopefully next video I'll be back with car stuff. So like, comment, subscribe, and all that stuff, guys, and I'll see you next time.